Welcome back to part 2 of Tech Update for the month of September. And I didn't actually think that we'd be doing another one of these. That's why I made the first one. Then I was like, man, there's been enough change formally in the metagame that we can actually talk about this. And I don't know, this is an interesting one. So there's a lot of tech choices going on in the metagame right now. A lot of, I guess they're card choices, per se. But you guys show me some love on this. Like this video? Let's dig on into part 1 of this, shall we? Part 1 of interesting things going on in the metagame right now. Tech choices, things like that. Dynamiscus Paleozoicus. Paleozoic Dynamiscus. So this is a little trap card that pretty much acts in the past like Phoenix Wing Blast, Karma Cut. Chainable trap cards that are inherent neg that have the ability to out something. And traditionally, I'll be honest with you guys, I haven't seen a chainable trap card like this that's a neg 1. Oh man, Phoenix Wing Blast was like the last one, right? That we saw. And, well, I guess trends have to repeat themselves. Now, we're looking at Dynamiscus as, well, one, it's a trap card that can recur itself. So if I activate a trap card, it has the ability to beam itself back out, which I guess is just icing on the cake. But I have the ability to discard a card, banish a key card on your field. You know those Dingrisus that have multiple materials? Well, you can just spot removal banish it. You know, your opponent setting up something else detrimental, you know, looking at most current deck list in the current format, you might be asking yourself, well, if his list is only playing one of that, and I activate Dynamiscus and I banish it, then doesn't that put me in a good position? I don't know. These are interesting questions that we have to ask ourselves. And I've noticed that it's only been a good chunk of pro players doing it. We saw this coming out of Salad, actually, and now Crescendo.deck, Orcust has started heading down this path as well. So interesting developments in the metagame. Chainable trap cards that are inherent neg 1s returning because of just current troublesome points in the metagame. Banishing your opponent's key cards. Interesting. I didn't actually think there'd be a time I'd see this. Now, in the time department, this one was brought to my attention but more recently in its emergency provisions. Whew. Now, every Yu-Gi-Oh player hates time rules. I'm going to be honest, I too also hate time. Like, I think the time rules, they're a bit unfair. I understand why the time rules were made the way that they are. But players are always looking for a way to exploit the time rules. Looking for a way. We've had Gaga Cowboy, you know, that card that you have access to in your extra deck at all points in the game. Slap 2 level 4s together. Make it ping your opponent for 800. We did it. We gained life. Alright. Salaman, great card that has the ability to gain life as well. Same thing. It's in-house archetype. You have the ability to gain life with it. Alright. There's that. Now, something that True Draco, and then we had Johnny Nguyen, Asian Persuasion, playing it this weekend at his event. We saw, emergency provisions back at it again. You know, it's a card that you're only going to bring in for time, but it has a unique ability that says send as many spell and trap cards as you want to the graveyard. Okay? And then you gain 1,000 life points for each of them. We actually saw Johnny in his, this was actually crazy to me, in his event on stream. He resolved it because him and his opponent were going into time. He Nibiru'd his opponent, gave them the rock, and then as time was being called, it was main phase. His opponent couldn't do anything. He flips the emergency provisions and then offers the handshake. My mind was absolutely astonished. I was like, oh my, like, we did this. Like, so players currently, constantly, ever evolving, looking for a means to push those into match procedures. And I think emergency provisions is a new way to do so, honestly. Now, continuing up on our tech trend here, we have Prohibition. Prohibition's another one of those cards, much like Dynamiscus, that you kind of see in more extraneous situations. I mean, you'll see Dynamiscus before you see Prohibition, but Prohibition's this budget option that players can turn to deny cards being played. And case in point of Prohibition's most degenerateness, Mystic Mind with Prohibition, you declare, oh, I do say that you are about to try to twin twister me. Prohibition, call it. You know, you've also got you can call your opponent's Dingrisu, you know, Sky Striker Ace Ray. You've got a lot of options available to you with this card. Now, that's just the small little icing on the cake for this. You're able to deny any threat that you see with this, alright? So, that's the cool thing with Prohibition. Yeah, the price tag is very cheap. It's a very good budget option for players. And I know budget players look to things like this. They need cards that they can play because they are cheap. And you have it right here in front of you. Like, very good side deck choice. If you don't have the most money and you're looking for things that you can pick up, Prohibition is one of those cards. Like I said, even in a more advanced game state, one of the cool things about Prohibition is if you know your opponent's going to have something that's going to stop you, you can call it to stop them. You know, if you think that your opponent's going to have something that's going to break your board, call Sphere Mode. Like, I didn't say it was the best thing in the world, but all options, in my opinion, can be good options. It just depends on the day, the time, the execution, the setup. Like, yeah. So, a good side deck option, generally, in my opinion, Prohibition. Next up on our list here is System Down. Well, this was a good classic throwback. And this one will probably gain more steam as the formats develop, because I'm going to be honest with you. You pay 1,000, banish all machines on your opponent's field and in the graveyard. Now, the counter pick to this bad boy is Artifact Lancia. I actually watched a young zombie player draw System Down against Cyber Dragon Orcust. He's in a great position. Well, his opponent knew that he was going to board in System Downs. So his opponent counter-pick sided in the Lancia. Also, you know, Lancia against Mizuki is pretty good. Well, activated System Down. His opponent chained... His opponent had, like, the full field, by the way. Like, they had set up, they'd done full combo. And then, lo and behold, he had the Lancia for the System Down. And you're just like... Literally the definition of yeet the table, ladies and gentlemen. Like, it felt so bad, but... Basically, System Down right now, it's really cute in the Sky Striker matchup because you can banish your opponent's one of Kargari. Basically making the Hercules base kind of worthless. You get the spot removal trigger out array, I guess. I guess that matters somewhat, but you get free board removal off that. But your main purpose here is you're using this against Orcust or Cyber Dragons or Cyber Orcust. You banish everything that your opponent set up in the graveyard, and you're just like, cool, free advantage. I've done it. For 1,000 light points, I've cleared your board. Seems pretty good to me. Like, generally good cards that literally take no investment whatsoever, I'll take. Alright, like, it seems really good to me, actually. Like, I guess we take those W's. And the last card we're going to talk about here, we've actually talked about before, but I wanted to do a little update on it. It's actually Exchange. Now, Exchange is seeing... We saw this 2 weeks back at the first wave of regionals. And coming out of this weekend, my friend was telling me at his regional he got exchanged twice. And granted, they never took anything from him. They're using Exchange as a way to search for these Nibiru's. So the combo decks have evolved to the point now that we're going to just exchange, look at your hand, and we're going to take your Nibiru from you and add it to our hand so that you can't combo break us. Now, the disadvantages to this are, well, what if your opponent has double Nibiru? I mean, I guess in all situations, if your opponent opens up that good, you know, you're destined to lose the game. That's just kind of, it's in the stars. Like, that's the bad with the good. The good news, though, an old card seeing play. Yu-Gi-Oh's evolved to a whole nother layer now, that we are interacting with our opponent's hands now. And, I mean, it definitely proves that those opening hands, you know... I don't know, it's interesting to me. It's Max C syndrome all over again, but instead, you know, we're hard looking for the power cards. So, Exchange seeing a little bit more love now, because we have to look for those broken cards so our opponent can't actually beat us. Great times, actually. Well, these are 5 impactful cards that I've seen doing things in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Whether it be in the side deck, in the main deck. Really interesting tech choices as of late, at least in terms of the information department. But what do you guys think? Please, comment down below, tell me what you guys think. And well, catch you guys on the flip side. Peace out. The ride never, well, truly ends. Thank you, patrons. Without you guys, I don't know what I'd be wearing in these videos. I might be a truffle shuffle incident all over again. Guys, please also check out VanCole40 for some awesome Vanguard content. Some other interesting stuff you might find up here on the left or in the description as well. Thanks for watching.